Hatakiase, Elonna LaFramboise Makiapi, Sisseton Wahpeton Dakota, Tonawanda Seneca, Absentee, Shawnee, and Fox. Hello everyone, my name is Elonna LaFramboise. My tribes are Sisseton Wahpeton Dakota, Tonawanda Seneca, Absentee, Shawnee, and Fox. NEWYORKNEWYORK translates into water is life in my Dakota language, and I grew up with a connection to water. Outside of everyday uses of water in my household, water played a vital role in my traditional ceremonies, where we use it for sacred prayers and healing. And all throughout my childhood, I was taught that water is a symbol of life. Water gives life to all of Earth's creations. So if our water is taken away, then our lives go with it. So what happens if our source of water is in danger? On the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota, many Native American nations from all over the country stood up against the Dakota Access Pipeline, and it threatened to contaminate our water supply and cut through sacred ancestral lands that has been the home of my people for centuries. The threat of oil leaking and bleeding into our land was like a threat to our own lives and well-being. And with the teachings that I've been raised with all throughout my childhood, I couldn't stand to see and hear the news of my people hurting and fighting to protect the water. And so in November in 2016, I went with my family to join the many water protectors in North Dakota. We were peaceful, but they were not. On my first night at Standing Rock, law enforcement threw tear gas at me. They had built a barricade on a bridge directly across the Standing Rock camp. And when I stepped onto that bridge, chaos erupted all around me. How could this be happening? And after the history of trauma and oppression against Native American people, how could this still be happening in 2016? But after observing my surroundings, I came to a heartbreaking realization. When law enforcement shot rubber bullets, when they threw tear gas and mace canisters at us, and when they fired water cannons in freezing cold temperatures, I realized that they didn't see us as people. They just saw us as barriers to their money and their success. At this moment in history, oil has been deemed more important and more valuable than the lives of my people. And in the midst of this chaos, I didn't know what a 16-year-old girl was supposed to do. So I did the only thing I knew how to do. I remember gripping my hand drum and wholeheartedly singing songs of prayers that had been passed down from my ancestors. Many of these songs asked our Creator to bless my people and to protect us, to protect our families and the many generations to come, and for good health and happiness for all of us.
Oyate, oyate, zone chepedo, we how ye wayedo, hey yo, ate wanka tonko shimanayedo, oyate, oyate, zone chepedo, we how ye wayedo, hey yo, ate wanka tonko we yo, hey yo, ate wanka tonko we yo, hey yo, ate wanka tonko shimanayedo, oyate, oyate, zone chepedo, we how ye wayedo, hey yo, ate wanka tonko shimanayedo. Oyate zone chepero we how ye wayero hey oh hey oh.
And as I was singing this song, I heard the screams all around me as other protesters were shot down. I saw them begging and crying for water just to wash the mace out of their eyes. And I saw law enforcement across the barbed wire fence as they threw a can of tear gas directly at us as we were singing. On that same night, hundreds of my people were injured. An elderly man had a heart attack, and a woman's arm was blown off. But throughout all the violence, we were unarmed. There wasn't a single weapon allowed at the camp. That night changed my life. Not only did I learn the harsh reality of how cruelly a business could mistreat other people, I also learned who I am and who I am not. I am not a terrorist. I am not an uncivilized savage. And I am not an angry protester. I am just a Native American with a responsibility to protect the land and stand up for my people. Not just because I want to, because if it were up to me, we wouldn't be in this situation. But it's because I have to. Because water is life. Water is all of our lives, and water is my life. And I want my family and the future generations to have access to something as simple and necessary as clean water. To put it simply, Shawnee, water is precious, the land is precious, and so are the lives of my people. Aho matakiase.